So my name is Christine Miska. I'm an engineering director at BAE Systems in Nashua, New Hampshire. I'm a parent of a freshman high school student and a junior high school student, both on a robotics team. And I'm the coach of the Air Shirley Regional High School robotics team. So that's what's brought me here today. I'm going to speak just for a short time, and then we're going to have our students do the rest of the presentation that they've worked to prepare for you, to help you in your schools with STEM. So I started this team 2.5 years ago. I knew it would make a big impact on students, on their ability to apply for college and get jobs, because FIRST Robotics looks really great on a resume. It opens up the opportunity for jobs that others may not consider, especially girls that may not consider STEM jobs. So I thought that would be great, and I thought it would be good for the community, for school choice, and to help be strong for our school. What I didn't expect is how enthusiastic the students would be, and how it created kind of a life of its own, that I planted the seed, and it seems to be growing. They are not only working on their own team, but we actually have some of our students at the high school that are coaching our elementary school teams. So I will let them get started. They're going to introduce themselves as they go through their presentations. They'll talk a little bit about their experience, and then we will open it up for questions at the end.
Hi, I'm Jacob Miska. I'm her son. I'm a junior at the Air Shirley Regional High School, and I am one of the hardware leads/liaisons on the team. So the objective of our group, we are MassFIRST. So we are a subdivision of our robotics team that we really want to spread first because of what it has done for us. We have enjoyed FIRST Robotics in our town, in our program, so much that we feel like everyone else should be able to do the same. And we want to spread it throughout all of Massachusetts and get a team into every Massachusetts school district if we can, because we think everyone should have that opportunity, as well as Dean Kamen, the founder of FIRST. He really pushes for the spreading of FIRST because of what it does for the kids. So what is FIRST? Well, FIRST stands for Inspiration and Recognitions of Science and Technology. So what that means in the program, in real speak, I'd say, is that all the kids get to come together and we get to work together in a team to build a robot like that, or even like that can work together and just do something amazing. So you get to learn things like engineering skills, teamwork, designing problems, and just problem-solving skills in general, as well as having a great time doing it. So I'm just going to tell you why I'm a part of FIRST. I'm a part of FIRST because it really is just a good time. Like I said earlier, I do a lot of stuff. I'm on the soccer team, I'm in drama, I'm a Boy Scout, the list goes on. But robotics is my favorite because you get to do things that you wouldn't get to do anywhere else. You get to make something that looks like it could seriously injure someone if you wanted it to. But it can work together with other teams that if you wanted to, you could, like we did in the first year, you could work together with someone from Israel with their robot that got the same challenge as you, and you get to do something awesome with someone that you would have never met otherwise. Also, you get to learn things that you're going to use later in life, like the problem-solving skills and the engineering skills that you learn from this. It's I've been told, it's very similar to what you do outside of just school. It's very similar to what you do in a workplace environment, whether it be projects or with the project deadline and the money management and the time crunch, and just all of it comes together to be very real life-like, and it is real life-like because you get to see your project start from nothing and become a whole working robot.
Okay, I'm Will Doyle. I'm a sophomore at Air Shirley Regional High School, and I am one of the leads for the software team. And my best memory of FIRST Robotics was last season. Last year was my first year on the team, and I remember, if you can see on there, the elevator system at the front with the grippers on it. Hardware had been working on that all week. We were coming to the end. It was Saturday. We'd been at the school for 5.5 hours or so, and hardware was just finishing up with that system. And I, being on the software team, had to code it to make it work, because it's not going to do anything until the software people write some code to control it. And I remember hardware finally brought it into the room, and they said, "All right, well, do your thing." And I loaded the code onto the robot, and it didn't work. But nothing ever works the first time when you're programming, as all my friends like to point out. It's always a software issue. But after finding the bug in the code, I went back through, sent the code again, and then it worked. And I could use one of these little controllers and raise the elevator, open it, close it, and it's really indescribable, that kind of feeling. But it's something you don't get in other sports. Like sports, you can hit a ball or you can shoot a ball, and that's a great thing, but controlling electricity to move elevators and open grippers, it's honestly indescribable, and it was the proudest moment in my whole life. Christine always likes to say that quote, but I was so proud. I was able to write code, something I'd never really done before in my life, and make that move, and then we went on to use that code later in the season. But you don't have to take my word for it that there are a lot of benefits to FIRST. If you take a look at the slide, there were 2 studies done by Brandeis University, one in 2005 and another more recent one in 2013. And FIRST Robotics has been proven statistically to have a significant positive impact despite gender, race, educational history, or income level. So this program is for anyone. It will help you no matter who your students are, no matter what they're like, and no matter what the mentors are too. Christine mentions mentors love it as well. And it teaches a lot of very important skills for the modern workplace: teamwork, gracious professionalism, straight up STEM knowledge, and it also motivates the students to do well in school. So a lot of students who may not have been enjoying school, when they've got this program to look forward to, they're a bit more enthusiastic about their work, and it really improves their lives outside of just being on the team. And another thing about FIRST Robotics is that alumni of the program are more likely to attend college and also more likely to be involved in community service. And a few more statistics for those of you that like those statistics. After being in the FIRST program, 65% of students say that they want to teach younger students STEM. That's high schoolers who come out of this and say, "Wow, I enjoyed this so much, I want to teach the next generation what I did." And that's kind of why we're here today. We want to help you teach younger students this as well. African American, female, and Hispanic alumni all get into college at a much higher rate than the national average, so it does have a very significant impact on minorities and female students. Alumni are 7 times more likely to major in engineering in college, and 10 times more likely to have work experience in their freshman year, to get an internship, to get some job experience, just anything, 10 times more likely. And Brandeis studied 10 schools that had the FIRST Robotics program, and 8 of the 10 schools, because of this outside of school program, now had new and pretty good quality engineering and robotics classes offered in the school. So even if you start this program outside of school, or if you start at an elementary level, it blossoms and it really becomes something else. It'll go from Legos to 120 pounds. It'll go from an outside of school thing to classes that are actually taught in your school that students want to come to. Christine has a quote that I'll just mention it right now. We had an elementary school student choice into our elementary school because of the FLL team. And that may not sound like much, but it's an elementary school. and the kids want to have fun. And being able to have this and teach them something, it really is special, and it's a great opportunity. And now I'll just turn it over to Mr. Morgan Freeman.
This is the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl of smarts, that is. It's a life-changing competition. It's kids having fun, competing, working together to dream up, design, and build robots.
It's just an exhilarating feeling. It's like I'm using power tools.
They're having the hardest fun they'll ever have. And they're becoming our next generation of engineers and innovators. First, for inspiration and recognition of science and technology, my teachers were some of the greatest influences on my life by challenging and trusting me. These mentors got me to understand that I could do anything I put my mind to. First mentors are changing kids' lives every day. Professional engineers, teachers, parents, teaming up with young people not just to build robots, but to build confidence and self-respect.
I'm around people that I can get along with, that we talk computer lingo with.
FIRST was founded by one of our greatest inventors, Dean Kamen. Dean saw that kids mostly look up to sports heroes and movie stars.
So we said, if we've got a culture now that's obsessed with sports and entertainment, let's inspire these kids to be big thinkers the same way Shaquille O'Neal can inspire them to spend dozens of hours a week bouncing a ball.
Our president agrees.
Scientists and engineers ought to stand side by side with athletes and entertainers as role models. And here at the White House, we're going to lead by example. We're going to show young people how cool science can be.
250,000 kids aged 6 to 18 compete at all different levels. In 2 FIRST Lego leagues, the FIRST Tech Challenge. And at the high school level, the FIRST Robotics competition.
The only difference between this sport and all the others is every kid on our teams can turn pro. There's a job out there for every one of these kids.
Students who take part in FIRST are 50% more likely to go to college and twice as likely to major in science or engineering.
I definitely know that I want to pursue engineering.
Once they've tasted what the power of knowledge is, that it can be fun and rewarding, they won't go back.
There is no doubt FIRST works.
10 or 15 or 20 years from today, some kid in those stands will have cured Alzheimer's or AIDS or cancer, or built an engine that doesn't pollute. Look at these kids. They're the future.
I feel like I can go and do anything I want to do because of this program.
Someone took the time to guide and inspire me. It changed my life. Take some time. Go to usfirst.org.
All right, very cool. My name is Ben Filmunden. I am a junior. This is my 3rd year on the robotics team, and I am the other hardware lead. So I have a map of the state of Massachusetts right here. The towns in green have some level of FIRST in their school district, whether that be FIRST Lego League, which is over here. They have FIRST Tech Challenge, which is between the Legos and FRC, which is what we do here. So whether they, at some level, they have a FIRST program. However, the towns that don't have any, that are colored this kind of white color, have no FIRST at all. So we are here today to try to help you to get started in spreading FIRST to the towns that you see that don't have any FIRST. Here's the reason why I believe that you should start, that everybody should have the opportunity to start FIRST. Last year was my 2nd year on the team, and I had a great time during the build season, so much to the point that we finished our last competition, which was the New England District Championship. We finished that on a Saturday. The following Sunday,
Will over here was at my house. We were sitting in my basement, and we've been talking a little bit throughout the build season, and we decided that we're gonna get together and we're gonna build a drone. So since last spring, Will and I have been getting together on our own, and we've been putting together a quadcopter with nobody's help but our own in the internet. And I can say that had it not been for this program, I would definitely not have taken that initiative to go off and pursue something at that level. So that's why I think you need to, everybody should have the opportunity to be involved in FIRST. And if you can, if you know somebody in one of these towns, please have them contact us, because we're more than happy, we're here to help spread a team to any of these towns here. You can see it's a big list. There's a lot of towns. There's like 300 and something, 70 something towns, and while a lot of them have FIRST, there's still plenty up here that don't. I'd also like to note that if you feel that, if you know that one of these towns does have a FIRST program, please let us know. We're trying our best to keep an accurate record of towns that have FIRST and towns that don't, so that we can better spread.
Hi, I'm Jill, and I'm an 11th grader at Ayrshire. At Ayrshire Regional High School, and I am a student liaison on the electronics team. I'm going to tell you how you can start a FIRST LEGO League, or FLL as I'll refer to it, team in your district. It's really easy. All you need at first is up to 10 members and 1 coach, a first-time fee of $420 for your LEGO Mindstorm mobile, which is over there, and a game table, which you won't have to buy again. That's a one-time fee. And annual operating costs can be as low as $500, but you'll always have, new teams will always have an access to wealth and support for coaches and mentors. So we know a lot of teams that charge their students $25 to $50 to be on the team, and that can totally take care of your $500 annual expense. And there's also a lot of sponsors and funding sources that you can use, including education foundations, corporate sponsors, local businesses, Rotary clubs, grants, and PTOs. And it is really easy to start a team, and as you can see, it's really not that expensive compared to a lot of sports school teams and other school clubs. So I'm going to tell you how I got onto the team. I'm going to go back a little bit. My father has always been a computer engineer, and when I was younger, all I knew about engineering was sitting at a computer and staring at it for hours. And I didn't really understand what engineering was. And then in freshman year, my best friend joined the team, and she fell in love with it. And then she persuaded me to join the team the next year. And I didn't know if I would like it. I joined, and it was pretty laid back for the first couple of months because that's kind of like our off season. And then in January was the first long practices, and I was complaining beforehand. I was like, that's a really long practice. I'm not going to be able to do that. Well, my dad ended up having to drag me out of the practice because I didn't want to leave. And I've ended up changing what I want to do for the rest of my life. I was going to be either a high school biology teacher or a marine biologist, and now I want to be a biomechanical engineer. And I was on the rules and strategy team, which basically tells everybody else what to do. And I was getting bored with that, so I used to go over to the hardware team and ask if they need any help. And this year I am one of the electronics leads. And that is why I think everybody should have a chance to be on the FIRST team. And now I'm coaching 2 FIRST LEGO League teams, and I would have never done that at all if I hadn't joined the high school team.
So this is just a video highlighting First LEGO League specifically.
In case you didn't know,
First LEGO League is an exciting program of FIRST, and an alliance between FIRST and the LEGO Group.
what's first? For inspiration and recognition of science and technology.
An international robotics program that introduces kids of all ages to the excitement of STEM learning.
STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math.
First LEGO League is made up of teams of kids ages 9 to 14.
Kids like us!
Each team can have up to 10 members.
Each season, FLL teams are presented with a challenge that has a central theme.
Taken from real-world scientific topics.
Like transportation, climate, energy, and biomedical engineering.
Teams are judged on a challenge that has 3 separate parts.
A project, a robot game, and how well teams demonstrate the FLL core values.
The project asks teams to identify a problem that needs solving.
Research it, and come up with an innovative way to solve it.
Then present and share what they learned with others. In the robot game, teams design, build, and program an autonomous robot.
That means that the robot does things all by itself.
Built from LEGO parts.
Robots earn game points by completing a series of missions on a playing field. Teams are also judged on their robot's design.
As teams work on and present their project and get ready for and play the robot game, they're judged on how well they practice
FLL core values. FLL teams can move from qualifying events to championships.
A celebration of the whole FLL season ends with the International World Festival in St. Louis.
Besides their tournament achievements, teams can be recognized and celebrated for all kinds of things.
Like creativity, gracious professionalism, sharing ideas, and promoting FIRST.
So that's First LEGO League. Sound like fun?
It is!
Alright, so that's a pretty good idea of what an FLL team would look like if you were to start one. And I mean, it is less of a hassle to start than a $22,000 FRC team. You're free to start an FRC team if you want, but FLL is a great place to start, and it is really easy to get started as well. And a little bit about the history of our program. We're an independent organization. We aren't officially associated with FIRST, although we do have, their support. And pretty much a few of us, after the end of last season, we were meeting in town hall after receiving an award from the Board of Selectmen, and we just started talking, and we realized, we love this. This is better than everything else we do. We love our other activities too, as Jake said, but this really is a life-changing program, and we just decided other kids have to be able to do this. And then, as you saw on the map, there are many kids who don't have that opportunity, right? They have to drive a ways to get that opportunity. And it's not right. Everyone deserves to be able to do that. And so that led to today, and we're going around the state. We've talked to Representative Jen Benson about state funding, and we really want to do everything we can to get this program into every public school district. Also, if you are one of those in one of those towns that is colored green, we still want to help you start teams as well. I mean, we're not restricted to just the towns that don't have them. We want to just start robotics as much as possible. So we have some contact information down here. We have a website, MassFirstRobotics.com, an email, and if you go online and visit usfirst.org, there's lots of information there. And the last thing I'd like to leave on is that the culture of FIRST Robotics is different than the culture of every other after-school activity that is involved in schools today. We are rewarded, like we get points or we can apply for awards based on how much we help our opponents or how much of a difference we make in our community. The most important award in FIRST Robotics, besides winning, but you can apply to other awards as well, is called the Chairman's Award. And that's an award that if you win it, it means you are an ideal team, other teams should be like you, and to win it, the conditions are you have to make a difference in your community, you have to, you know, give back, contribute, teach younger kids about STEM. And so every team, every FRC team, every FLL team, they want to help you because they can apply for that award. So the culture is so helpful. You can ask any FRC team for help and they will give it to you. They'll help coach your team, your FLL team, they'll help coach your FRC team. And it's really, at the end of the day, it's about those core values that they mentioned. Teamwork, gracious professionalism, and that'll just translate to the rest of your lives. And it's a really important and a really fun program to have in your schools. So that about wraps it up for our presentation. We can open it up to questions, and thank you all for listening.
Didn't you win the Chairman's Award last year?
Yes.
You have that little video?
Oh yeah, I bet we could find that.
That was pretty good. That was.
So the first year, you can't apply for Chairman's Award. You're eligible for the Rookie All-Star Award. So all the rookie teams, first-year teams, have a special category. And so the first year that we competed, we, at the district level, won the Rookie All-Star Award, which was a great honor. And then, so we got to go to the New England Championship. So again, we won at the New England level the Rookie All-Star Award. And surprisingly, found ourselves on our way to St. Louis on a field trip to go to the World Championship because we won. And as a coach, I didn't even put the World Championship on the calendar because why would a first-year team ever make it to the World Championship? But we did get an opportunity to go the first year. Last year, our goal, as long shot as it was to go for Chairman's Award. Chairman's Award judges you on performance for 5 years. So what are all the things you've done for the past 5 years? We are the first New England team ever to win Chairman's Award in our second year. So we do take it seriously. Not just me as a coach, it's really not about me. It's about what you've seen here. The students want to go out and give back because they had so much fun. They want to make that possible for the other students. So we will apply for that again this year, and we hope to have a very competitive robot design as well. So here's our Chairman's Award video that we submitted.
Galaxy is constantly expanding and evolving. The first robotics team 4905, Andromeda 1, is doing the same. Although the team started only 1 year ago, its members have taken great strides toward improving both themselves and their community. Our school district of Aaron Shirley is very small. That being said, Team 4905 is over 60 members strong. 1 in every 10 students at the high school is involved with Andromeda 1's first program, with an entire fourth of the school's sophomore class being on the team.
We have a 100% retention rate from last year, and half of our graduated students returned to help out at robotics.
We have always strived to have female involvement on the robotics team.
Some of our students have attended women in engineering conferences, and we have inspired our town's recreational program to expand beyond just sports and create Tech Kids, a program in which elementary school girls are able to learn about technology.
Our high school is currently undergoing a complete renovation, and in the process we have taken robotics into consideration so that they have ample and adequate new space in our STEM lab.
This new lab shall house our tools, our robots, and our creativity. Also, a display case for our rookie year robot has been added to the design of the new entrance, and the team's banner from the World Championship is to be hung in the gymnasium.
Next year, we will be offering more software and programming classes to our students.
Some of our teachers have even gone back to school to learn how to properly teach a class on 3D CAD.
We got mandated to try to do the hour of code, so I got involved with my classroom.
The influence of Team 4905 does not stop at the end of the school day, rather it extends throughout all reaches of the community. The team was integral to the community's 4th of July parade and 5K road races. We have been noticed by the local newspapers and continue to try to spread the word of FIRST at these events.
Team 4905 has helped FLL teams in our surrounding area many times and in many ways.
In addition to the FLL, our team is also very involved with the Boy and Girl Scouts, bringing back the robotics badge for the Boy Scouts in our area, and creating a whole new robotics patch for the Girl Scouts. The team is currently working to make sure that this patch is available to every Girl Scout in the country. The Andromeda galaxy is constantly expanding and evolving. The first robotics team, 4905, Andromeda 1 is doing the same. A big bang of sorts has occurred. The team has truly exploded in our community and is increasing in size daily.
So that kind of shows what your typical FRC team is going to be like. In that video, yeah, we mentioned our success at Worlds the last year. We mentioned our Rookie of the Year a little bit. But the things that are most important to us, Tech Kids, the first non-sports activity ever in our recreational department in the towns of Air and Shirley. Being able to bring patches to the Boy and Girl Scouts, introducing a robotics patch for the Girl Scouts. Those are the sort of impacts that having FIRST in your district can really do. It's an organization that's focused around giving back, learning about engineering, and having a lot of fun. So, yeah.
Can you, from your perspectives, the students that are on the team, you know, it sounded like many of you did other kinds of activities. What's a typical week like for you of participating?
So it depends. During the build season, so there's the 6 weeks during the build season, which gets very busy. In the past, we've done 6 days a week, so it would be Monday through Thursday, and then Saturday and Sunday. We would meet at the school. One advantage to this, especially if you are in other things, is it's obviously greatly encouraged to be there as much as you can, but if you can't go, let's say one day, because let's say you have a basketball game that got moved, and it's now overlapping with the meeting, it's not the end of the world. We'll catch you up the next meeting, and we'll keep moving on. And I do a lot of stuff, and somehow especially the first year, I was part of the musical that was going on at the time, and I was part of Boy Scouts and a bunch of other little activities and stuff, and I still got the best attendance award. So yeah, it's something that you can always count on being able to do it. Even if you do have a busy schedule, you can still go enough. Like, you can still go and participate and have a great time and learn a lot and be part of this experience.
As a coach, I was concerned about the time commitment for parents as mentors and for students. I knew what was coming. I knew how challenging this program could be, even when I did it my first year. And so the strategy we have is right now we're meeting once a week, Thursday nights, as a high school team. So 6:30 to 8:30, one night a week, and that's it. So that's where people just get started, start to learn. And now when it comes time to the challenge, where we're meeting 6 days a week, at that point, they're there because they want to be there, not because they have to be there. So we talk about the schedule that's coming in January and February. We don't dwell on it, because if they don't get a taste of the robotics program first, that could scare them away. But then, we actually have that schedule, and our kids are in all those other activities as well. And then they're demanding more meeting time. So they're there because they want to be there, and I say they, it's also the mentors. I have people that have volunteered their time that have no kids in the district that said, I'm an engineer, can I help out? So it's been pretty inspiring to me to see how much people are giving their time. And just to point out one more thing is the kids on our team are in mock trial, the school play, the band, every major sports team, hockey, basketball, soccer, volleyball. We have altar boys, altar girls, so it's the works. And we just say, come when you can. If you've got a test and you need to not come one night, you need to not come that night. But don't miss out on the opportunity to be involved in this. And I don't need to worry about attendance. They get there when they can because they want to come.
Great job, Mom, mentor.
You guys gonna demonstrate this for anybody who wasn't here before?
Sure, we absolutely can.
When you were doing your builds or starting to focus, who was it that took over looking at the other cross-functional needs you had, like getting money, materials, arranging the rooms, that sort of thing, and where you could tap into your fellow students that might be an English major that might have need to write the copy that you read on those sorts of things. It takes all different types of skill sets beyond, and I work for an engineering company, and it's not just the elevator and the coding that has to work. I gotta buy you a laptop to write on it, and you need to find the money for that, and that could be a gator, right? Do you folks work in that world, or do you rely on your mentors so you can focus on the other things with busy schedules like we all have? I don't know if you want to talk to that, but I think it might be interesting to hear what the students have to say, experiencing the sort of soft skills that might be needed out there.
All right, well, we actually, the team has four main divisions. Rules and strategy, that's for planning the game. Software, coding the robot. Hardware, building the robot. And then we have a whole entirely separate business team. And that's full of students. They're the students that write the grants. There are English majors who say, or we say to them, hey, come to a robotics meeting. Even if you're not interested in science technology, we'll teach you how to use power tools and how to write grants. And then on the business team, we have finance. Christine mentioned how we have a finance mentor who works in the finance job. She's teaching kids all the essence of finance. So they can learn a little bit about the STEM aspect and then also get that monetary part as well.
I want to talk about it a little more too. So yeah, the robotics team has things for people of any background. That if they want to go into, let's say they want to become an artist when they grow up, they could help us design the logo, or they could help us design the t-shirt and get the team spirit stuff going great. Or if you're a writer, like you said, the grants and articles and journals stuff that we do. So the robotics team doesn't only, it focuses mainly on the STEM work, but it also does have lots of applications for people who aren't interested in just engineering and STEM and stuff like that. Like one of my friends, Ryan Mesher, he made the video that you just saw. He's super into directing and art and stuff like that, and that was his outlet for the team.
Yeah, that was how he was able to contribute.
Yeah, you nailed my point. Thank you. It's so much more than the showbiz part sometimes, right?
Okay.
Thank you.
What do you call when you in the competition, the pit? I call it the pit, what is that?
Pit boss?
Yeah, the pit boss. So they have students that decorate each.
Oh, there's pit design.
Yeah, pit design.
And there's pit boss.
Yeah, and then there are people that are down there, and each team decorates their pit, and so those students that want to do that and stay down there and take care of when the robot comes back in, helping repair it and all that are there as well. So there's all kinds of roles and jobs.
The strategy that we try and do is, I guess it comes more out of the project management book than my engineering book, is to make sure we remember that everyone who comes is a volunteer. They're only there because they want to be there. So we try and keep focus on how to keep them motivated to come. So purpose, autonomy, and mastery, says Daniel Pink in his book. So I make sure that we divide up into lots of teams with lots of roles, with lots of purposes. We've got lots of titles, and we let people, as much as we can, do things their way. Somebody owns the video. Somebody is in charge of our Vietnam team and being the interface because we're starting a team in Vietnam to start a new country for FIRST. This MassFIRST campaign is just a subset of our team. So we have students that have been able to shape and own how that's going to look and how we're going to do it. So our team has grown. So we've had to make more roles and responsibilities. So that's been something that's worked well. And if everyone comes and has a purpose, even if it's the button lead, we make a lot of buttons. designing the button, printing the button, and also ordering the button parts and making sure we're ready for each competition, you can have a button lead. We have social media. We have someone in charge of, someone who learned how to do web programming, one of our students. We have someone in charge of Instagram, someone in charge of Facebook, someone in charge of Twitter. You can split those out into different students if you want to be able to have ownership of multiple things. So,
to add on to that, having the titles and that responsibility really lets you take ownership of what you're doing. So it makes it more rewarding, and it also lets you really go in depth into it, and like it makes it your thing. So let's say, yeah, you're the button lead, but when you end up going to the competition and having thousands of buttons that people are wearing all over the stands, you did that. You got people to wear your buttons. It may not be, yeah, I just got a couple $1,000 grant, but everyone's wearing your buttons. You did a good job. You did it successfully, and it's something that you can look at and be proud of.
This kid right here, he just made the website for this program. He made it about a week ago. What other after-school program will have kids building websites like this guy? So, I mean, it inspires kids to do a lot, and, just learn how to buy a domain and then make a website. That's the sort of offhand things that you get out of this program.
and they insisted the professional domain, MassFIRST Robotics.
Yep.
No other sales people in there, right? So top notch.
No subdomains.
Subdomains.
I have one more question. Could you just explain a little more again how you moved from one function that you started in and then found another interest again? I'm older than you and I missed a little bit of that. It was interesting.
You mean in the team, moving from one team to the other? Okay.
Yeah.
So I was on rules and strategy, and what we do is when the game is announced, we get this giant packet of paper. We read the whole thing, and then we basically highlight each team's different rules for their team, and then we give software their rules, and we give hardware their rules, and we give, and then throughout the competition season, we make sure everything is in those rules, and it's not as busy, I guess you could say, as the hardware and the electrical and the software, because you're not programming and you're not building. And I got bored, and I went, and of course the hardware, they always need help. And I had never had never used a power tool, ever. And I kept going up, and I was like, do you guys need any help? And I kept going up. And then this year I was like, oh, I want to be on the hardware team. And I think it was your dad, Grandpa Paul. It's like, well, I want you to be an electronics student lead. And I said, I don't know anything about electronics. And he said, that's the point, and walked away. So now I am an electronics lead.
And now you know something about it.
I know. Now I know.
I'd like to give another example of that, and I'm going to embarrass my daughter, but Alana, could you come up and talk about how you switched teams, and also I want you to talk about how you learned CAD and what you do with CAD. So we let all the students pick the teams that they want to be on. They can change during the year if they want to be on a different team. We usually try and stick with one team during the season because there's just too much for any one person to learn for that. None of us. No one can really, in 6 weeks, be on all the teams and understand all of it. So you want to get in depth in something. So that's important. The other thing I'll mention, at least on our first year, and I think we were pretty close last year, every single student used a tool on the robot that we designed our rookie year. And almost every student this past year had hands on that robot and used some kind of power tool or file or something to help make it. So Alana, want to talk about your teams?
So I started in 7th grade because my mom was a mentor, so I was allowed to come in middle school. And the first team that I was on was Rules and Strategy, like Jill was on. And my goal was kind of to try a whole bunch of different types of, a whole bunch of different teams, since I had so many years to do it. So the next year I tried hardware CAD, and I learned SolidWorks. And my mentor had taught me a whole bunch of things about 3D printing and everything. So this year I'm on CAD again, and I'm student lead for it, and I'm helping teach all the new kids, all the new students how to do it. I'm 3D printing more, and hopefully we can get a whole bunch of 3D printed items that we created on the robot.
Can you point out just a couple? There's parts on the robot that were custom designed by Alana and the other CAD student.
One thing kind of easy to see is up here, that's holding the light, that is 3D printed. There are a whole bunch of little things that you can't really see that are in all of the electronics. But our goal is to get so that you can see like all the 3D printed stuff, you can easily point out what's 3D printed.
Question for you. My understanding was you get a box of parts. So how are you able to make additional parts? Is that allowed?
So you get a box of parts, but it's not like put together. Like there's no instructions. It's like you get the drivetrain, so you get the frame at the bottom, though it's not all put together, and not all the teams even use that. The rest of it, you might get a couple motors, and you put the rest of it together. So the rest, like all the aluminum tubing and all the steel plates and all the arms and all the motors and stuff that we didn't get originally, all the wires and all that, we all went out, bought it, find it, put it together.
Okay.
The majority of this is you got to figure it out. You got to find the parts. You got to buy the parts. You got to put it all together. You got to design it from essentially nothing. And the parts you get help you start. They help you get to where you need to be. They give you like the computer parts that you wouldn't be able to just go out and buy. Like the main, they call it the Robo Rio. It's the main computer port that goes out to all the motors and stuff. That they give you because you can't really go out to a hardware store and buy it. But you can, like extra motors, there's a motor for the arms that has a gearbox attached to it, so it's slower but more powerful. We went online, and there's a website that they recommend that you can use, and we bought it online, and we used it, and we put it on the thing, but we didn't get that originally. So it's all about going out and finding your own.
First has components that they require you. So motors, there's a list of probably 25 or 30 motors that you are allowed to use, and they don't allow you to use any beyond that. That's the same deal for speed controllers, which controls the speed of the motor. They have several that you're allowed to use, but beyond that, you're not allowed to use any other aftermarket components. Yeah, so, and then those are the kind of things that you get in your kit of parts. On top of that, there's always some other miscellaneous things, but the majority of the parts are things that FIRST requires you to use, just to
First safety. Yeah.
But as a new coach, I asked that same question. So I get 2 bins of parts. Does that make a robot? And the answer is no. Not even close. It has some of the core components. Lots of random donated parts, like those springs I talked about that we haven't figured out how to use in any of our designs yet, but a spring company donated those, so that may come in handy at some point. So it really is a lot of research, teaches them to do some research online, shopping at Home Depot and Lowe's, a company called AndyMark that sells a lot of robotics parts targeted at FIRST Robotics. They got a good business every January, February when all the teams are buying. Takes a lot of strategy too, because it's only 6 weeks, and most of the things you need are online purchases, and you need them quick.
Expect a lot of next day airing stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of money for shipping.
A lot of money. $60 for FedEx 2-day ship, I can tell you, so each time. So we're getting a little better about having in stock. We're working on some pneumatics. The first year we wanted to do a pneumatics design. We ordered some parts. They didn't come in. We had to order a second company. They came in wrong. So, weeks go by. So we didn't use pneumatic parts that year. But it's just, again, part of the, I think Jacob talked about real application, real world. You got a time limit. You got a money limit. You got to work with other people. You can't do it by yourself. And, a real deadline and real rules to play the game.
You mentioned a money limit. Money limit being what you can raise?
No, But the robot parts need to be less than $4,000, which is a pretty high limit. Most robot parts that you buy, in addition to the kit you get, usually run around $1,200 or so for a robot.
To put in perspective, this was, I believe, $1,500 on all of the parts that you see on this particular robot.
That you had to buy.
Yes.
Yeah.
How, I just want to mention this. When we said earlier about $22,000 a year to run a robotics team, that does include buying all the parts you need. That's not an additional cost. If you budget $22,000 or so, then that gives you more than enough money to spend on whatever parts you need.
So that includes like, that helps include like food, t-shirts, stuff like that. Helps you with transportation, maybe hotels. No,
So,
sometimes.
I'll just help with the breakdown.
Yeah.
And we do have, although the kids talked about grants and such, we do have that heavily weighted on the parents, grants and corporate outreach, reaching out while they can focus a little more on the technical stuff. So for a high school team that's a $22,000 budget, just to register the team to play the game, it's $6,000 your first year, $5,000 for follow-on years. That gets you the 2 kits of parts, 2 bins of donated parts. It has you compete in 2 competitions in New England, so you can sign up to 2 competitions that are 2-day events. Yeah, that's what that gets you. And then if you do well and qualify for the New England Championship, you get to pay another $5,000, 4 or 5, might be 4, to go to the New England Championship. And if you do well there, you get to pay another $5,000 to go to St. Louis. So when it comes to the budget, the registration's a big piece. For us, our school does not have a machine shop. A lot of schools don't, especially if they're not a tech school. So we've had to buy some tools and some, basic equipment. So that's been part of the expenses that we've had. Transportation can be a big thing. We are just blessed with a lot of adult volunteer mentors. We have 25 mentors. So it's almost a 2-to-1 ratio of students to mentors. So we tend to do a lot of carpooling to our events. So we've got drivers built in, not to St. Louis, but to the local events. Because as many of you probably know, if you're in schools, buses are really, really expensive. So we paid for a bus for one event with the help of the school, and it's just a big expense. So if you have to do a bus, then that would be another thing to consider. But once again, I forget what we said in the last session versus this one. Let me just comment on $22,000 sounds unachievable. I was afraid of $6,000. That was the budget I thought I needed when I started the team. And I was encouraged to just get started and apply for grants and reach out to sponsorships. And we had, our first year, we raised $42,000 because we also went to St. Louis. So we went back and got a lot more. We hit the streets to try and get more money to raise for a trip to St. Louis. So that whole year, we were able to get our team to St. Louis, 3 events, the bus, the trip. It was a big deal. But there are companies out there that are interested in helping sponsor programs like this because they want them to work for their company when they graduate.
One example of the companies that's been one of the most supportive of us is Boston Scientific. The first year, they gave us $5,000, right? Yeah. And then we qualified for the World Championships, and we need more money. So they gave us another $5,000. And then the year after that, they gave us another $5,000. Like, once you get good, close with one sponsor, they're also somewhat likely to give you more in the future years. And some of the bigger corporations, especially the technical ones, will give you a lot of money. So they've donated thousands of dollars because they can, really.
NASA sponsors most first and second year teams with a $6,000 or $5,000 sponsorship. So we're done with that. This is our first year without our NASA $5,000 sponsorship, so we're going to have to make sure we can raise the funds. But they're there as well to help get started. So if you are looking at a FIRST robotics competition team at the high school level, it is definitely achievable. It is more work, than the middle and elementary school Lego League teams, but we're here with We Learned, and we're here to share what we learned to help you start